How you doing today, class? My name is Tyler Jones, and I've chose my 5-minute topic on pretty much what my career is, and it's training dogs to look for contraband, explosives, narcotics, human scent, and teaching them to do protection as far as guarding people. This is a skill that I've learned while I was in the military, and I've applied it for about the last 13 years from the military and the Department of State. So when it comes to teaching a dog or working a dog, one of the most important factors is the dog's drive. The dog has to have the want to learn, no different than a human. Nobody wants to work with someone who just doesn't care or does not want to be there. When it comes to a dog, you want that dog to always be happy. The dog doesn't necessarily know and never should know that it's doing a job. To the dog, it is always considered you're always having fun. It's always going to be a game. So when you find a dog that has a great drive as far as playing and will do whatever for its owner or its partner, you have to find a way to manipulate that. Most things that we do use are certain things like a ball. You can take a Kong, a tennis ball, any kind of ball that the dog will chase that it has a drive for, and this is how you manipulate the dog. One of the first things you do is you go into obedience. Simple things as far as sit, stay, down, heel, come, things like that. You want to teach a dog. So that way when it comes to the final response, if the dog is going to alert. Nowadays things always change, but when I first came into the game of teaching dogs, the dog had to sit, and then the handler would reward the dog with a toy, with the dog's favorite toy. Nowadays the dog doesn't necessarily have to stay, it just locks in on the source of the odor, of where they're finding the actual odor. But the beginning phase is actually teaching the dog obedience for the final response. The final response is the indicator, the alert that the dog gives you. When you go into that, now we go into teaching the dog how to respond on odors and what to look for. It's always going to be a game. You teach a dog pretty much one odor at a time, and then once it becomes proficient on those odors, then you can start mixing them. Take several odors such as C4, TNT, smokeless powder, any kind of homemade explosives, and you do it one by one. You put the dog inside of like a box. You put the odor inside of a box. The dog is not supposed to see it. It's only supposed to smell it. So once the dog puts its nose inside of the box or inside of a hole, it could be a hole in the wall where there's different places to put the odor to where the odor has to travel out. The dog's nose goes toward that, and this is the beginning phase of the training. And what you want to do is once the dog sits there and he smells it and he's getting a good whiff of it, you can either throw the dog his toy so the dog understands, oh, when I smell this, I get my toy. So after repetition, the dog understands to stay there and not to move off that odor. And that's how you get what we call now, in the year 2015, the stop and stare response, which means that the dog just stops and he locks in and he stares. At no point in time do you ever correct the dog, do you yell at the dog. There's nothing negative in the training. You always want it to be positive, because when you're out there in the field and you're coming across a situation where you're about to encounter some explosives, you do not want your dog to ever remember anything negative. It should always be a game. The dog is clueless. The partner, as far as myself or the trainer or the other handler, is the one that knows what's going on. You have to always be vigilant. So you just go out there and pretend it's a game. It may be hard, it may be nerve-wracking, but it's a game to the dog and you as a team. So you want yourself, or you want to operate smoothly. Other things that we do when we teach a dog for protection, we have what we call like a bite sleeve right here. It's the same thing with anything else. It's always a game in the beginning. You target the dog. The dog's getting excited. First thing the dog does, and he puts his mouth right here, and you just let him play with it. That's all it is. You just let him play with it. You can start off with something simple as just a rag. You just take a rag to see if the dog has the drive to do it. The dog does it, that's great. Now we build off of it. And those obedience commands that we learned, or that we taught the dog in the beginning, we can apply those towards this protection phase, as far as teaching the dog to let go, to send the dog for the bite, to only bark and not bite. There's a lot that goes into it, but within 5 minutes, I hope I gave you enough information on what my actual profession has been for the last decade plus. Thank you.